Hello guys, welcome to Build Your Macro Projects. Now, if I load the screen, you can see the spinner briefly. Yeah, this is what we're going to develop today using React Hooks and Redux. If you want to type along with me, kindly install the following. 1. npm install Redux. 2. npm install React Redux. And 3. npm install Redux DevTools extension. And 4. npm install Axios. So that is that, guys. With all said and done, let's begin. Thank you very much. Let's begin by creating 3 folders in our SRC folder. So the first one, we'll create a folder and name it assets. And we'll create another folder in the SRC and call it components. And after we create another one and call it Redux. Good. Now let's take the first one, assets. We create a folder and call it spinner. Good. Now inside the spinner, we need to get a spinner and look for tenor give. Yeah, tenor gives. Good. Now open their website. And inside that, we can type in loading to give us loading gifts. Great, we got loading gifts. So we pick the first one. So guys, let's download this and use this for our project. So that is that. I've downloaded it already. So I think let's leave it and continue. So that is that with the loading gifts. Now let's go to the next one. Now we need to bring it inside. So I go to my desktop. Then I bring it, put it in my spinner folder. Good. So here we have it, loading image GIF. So that is that with the spinner. So next to talk about is the components. Now with the components, let's create a folder and call it to do. So inside to do folder, let's create a file and call it to do app.js. Great. So with our boilerplate RAFCE, good. Instead of ordinary this, why don't we make it React fragment? Good. So inside that we can say h3 tag and say hello. Good. Now let's link that to the app.js to view on the screen. Go to app.js, then we say to do app. Good. Let's import that. Okay, import to do app. Good. Now let's check our screen, see if there's any issue. You can close this. Good, we got hello on the screen, so it means we're ready to go. Now let's look at the structure of the application. Now in this application, I want us to have a card. Good. As usual, our card header. Good. Then in addition, we're gonna have our to-do container. Then inside the container, we're gonna have a checkbox at the far end of the container to determine whether it is completed or not. Okay, so that is that with our setup. Now about the page, let's have something like this. Let's have 1, 10, 1. So that's just 1, then 10, 1. So we're going to work in the 10 column. So that is that with our Bootstrap setup. Okay, so that is that. We can begin now. So let's go to our to-do app. Let me close the app.js. Now take the hello out and create a div. So say div. Inside the div, let me clean this thing. Inside the div, what do we need? We need a class name. A class name and call it row. Now inside the row, we create a div. Create a div and give the class name and call it call md1. Okay, so we can just copy that and make the second one 10. The second one I'm going to be 10. Call md10. So in a nutshell, we're going to work in the call md10. So what do we do over here? We need a card. We get a div, give the class name, see our class name and call it card. Now inside the card we need a header and a body. So create a div, give the class name and call it card header. We copy that, change the second one to card body. Second one becomes card body. So that is that. Now let's do the first one, the header. What do we need? We need an h5 tag. Then with the title, spin app slash loading page with JSON API. And that is that. Let's give it a class name. Give it a class name and call it font weight bold. Font weight bold. That is that. Let's check that out. Great. Now let's center it and give it some background color as well as a margin. So we go do that. We'll give it some margin tab. Let me say MT3. We center it, so we say over here in the card we can say test center. Okay, now we need to give it some color. Okay, so card header. Let me go to CSS. So we go to CSS and say here card RGB 3478. Let's check that out. Good. Let's make the text white. So to do that, I want our text to be white, so I'll put that in the card. I'll say card, and I say color rather in. Great. So that is that with the header. Now next thing is to deal with the body. So let's go to the body. Let me just space out. And I say inside the body we say let's give it a container. So we say it to do container. But now inside that container we're going to have two divs. Div, give it a class name, call it left content. And the second, oh sorry, class name didn't count. Class name equals left content, and the second one will be right content. I can just copy that, and the second one is going to be right content. Sorry, shouldn't be caps. Yeah, something like that's right. So let's create the width and height for it to do container. So I just copy that, take it to my CSS, and we say container. Good. I mean width. Let's give it 950 pixels. Then mean height of 50 pixels. Then a background color of RGB to rack 04343. Yeah, that is that. Let's check that out. Great. Good. So that is that. Let's take the first content. So let's go. The left content. What's going to be the left content? Let's give it another list. Inside that, you can create a list and say, let's give the dummy test. We're going to be welcome to micro projects. Okay, let's check that out. Oh, too small. Let's give it font size of 25 pixels. Okay, so let's try that. That's what left content, font size 25 pixels. Let's check that out. Great. So let's bring our checkbox too. So we go to our right content. Then we say give us a div. Good. A div class name. Form check. And so that we should have an input tag. So we say let's give the type and call it checkbox. And inside that we can have a class name. Call that to form check input. So that is there. Let's check that out. Great. It's even outside the container. So what we need to do is to display flags so that they can all be in the container. So we go back to our to do container. Then we say what display what flex. Then inside display first we say justify content space between. Yeah, space between. Then align items center. Then let's give it some margin bottom. margin bottom 5 pixels. Sorry, 5 pixels. So that is there. Let's check that out. Great. Now what we need to do is to center everything. Now this is too small. Let's make it bigger. So we can just add another CSS to the checkbox. We say let's call it big. No, let's call it big checkbox. Okay, big, big check box. So inside I give width, give it the width of 20 pixels and give it a height of 20 pixels. So now I can attach big checkbox to the class name. So I go to do app. I can attach the checkbox class name here. I can say big checkbox. So let's check that out. Great. Yeah, this is bigger. So now let's give it some margins at both sides. So let's do that. Let's call the right content. This is the left content. So let's call the right content to right content and give it some margin right. We say 20 pixels. Then over here to I can give it some margin left 20 pixels. Let's check that out again. Good. Now we need to center it. So what do we do? Let's create a centered CSS. Okay, so that we can reuse in the future. So I can say over here, we can say dot centered. You say display what flex, justify content center, and last one align item center. So that is that. So we can add it centered to our from class. So we say centered. So that is done. Let's check it out. Great. Now our checkbox is centered. So now what do we do next? Is to repeat several times and see. So go to the container and just copy that and repeat it. Let's check that out. Good. We need some margin top here. The body, we need some margin top. So let's give the body some margin top. Body, where are you? Body. Again. Cut body. Oh, I cut body. The name of this. card body, I guess supposed to be. Good. So that is that card body. It's also okay. So that is that. So we can repeat it several times and we still have the same thing. So that is that. Gosh, with our CSS. Now to check it, you just add check. You realize that it will be checked for us. So that is that. Next is to use our Redux to load our API. But before that, I think this header is too small. Let's make it bigger. So let's call CSS and we say, let's give it card header, h5 font size, size 25 pixels. Let's see. Better. 25 pixels. Yeah. That is that, guys. We ready for Redux to load our API. But before that, let's take this off. We only need one. Okay, let's check that out. Good. So that is that, guys. Now we can use Redux to call our API. To go to Redux, we can close all this. Now with Redux, let's create a file and call it store.js. Let's create another file and call it roots reducer.js. Good. In the same Redux folder, let's create another folder and call it to do Redux. Now inside the to do Redux, let's create 3 files and call the first one to do.actiontypes.js. Good. Let's create another file and call it to do.actions.js. Let's create another file and call it to do.reducers.js. So that is that, guys. Let's take the first one, action types. Now, it's all about the actions we're going to use in this to fetch the data. And one is what? Export const load data request, which equals the same load data request. So we can just copy that. Go then copy the whole 3 times. Good. First one is load data request. Second will be success. CCSS. And last one will be failure. So we have here failure URL. This one is going to be success. So that is that. Done with the action types. Next one is the actions. Now to begin the action, we need to import the action type. So we say import with load data request, load data success. The last one, load data failure, FAI, failure. Let me just rearrange them nicely. So next is to import Azure from Azure here. That's it. So that is that. And lastly, so we can begin by saying export const load data equal to a function that will return async array which will gives us another function that will say our try and our error. Good. So that is that. Let's take the first one, our try and error. We'll take our dispatch, DCH, our dispatch, and inside the dispatch, our try, we can say dispatch what? Dispatch a type, dispatch a type, 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 a type called what? Load data request. Load data request. Good. Now we need to call our URL. So we say let u, and make all caps, URL is equal to. Now what is our URL? Let's go to JSON and get our URL. Let's go to JSON. We say come to Google and say JSON placeholder. Good. So we go to the free fake API. Then beneath that, we can go to to-dos. So to-dos, we have our to-dos here nicely. We copy that. Let's say paste it here nicely. So we can now say let response be equal to wait Azures dot get data URL. Sorry, URL, not data URL, because URL. So that is that. Then we can now dispatch then we can now dispatch what? Dispatch a type I call load data success. Load data success. Good. Come on. Payload. Give it what? response dot data. So that is that for the success. Now let's go to the failure. So we have error. Inside the error, we can dispatch dispatch what? A type load data, loaded the failure. Okay, come on, then the payload error. Oh, sorry, I can't make this place error. It's rather catch, try and catch, not error. Sorry about that, guys. Try and catch. Good. So that is that. Okay. So we are done with dot actions. Now next one is to do dot reducers. So let's go to do dot reducer. So we say we need to import the action types again. We've imported it in the action, so we can just copy it. Over here, just copy and bring it to the reducers. Good. So without that, next let's create a feature key in the store. Okay, so we say export const, let's call it to do key equals to do store. So that is the next is to create an initial state. So we say let initial state equal to what? Give the data. Let's give it empty array. And come on. Loading. Let's give it what? False. Then let's do the next one. Error message. Let's give it empty string. Good. So now we can continue and say that export const to do reducer equal to a function. Good. Where we can say let state be equal to initial states, comma, action, which can further be destructured as we all know we have the type, comma, payload, and the action. So that is that, which brings us to our switch statement. We are saying switch to bracket a type good. What a case is load data request. What do? Then return what? Return the state back, comma, then make loading true. So that is that for a case for load data request. Now let's do another one for another case, load data success. So I can just copy that and say load data success. Now if it's load data success, what do? Give us the state back. Now make loading, this time make loading false. First, then come on. Then if our data, the payload. Okay, so that is that for load data success. Now about this last one, load data failure. Load data failure. What do? Give us the state back. There's no issue with loading, but error message, give it the payload. Okay, that is that. Now we need to add our default state. So we say default default state, give us return state. So that is that with our switch statement for the to-do.reducer. Go guys, so that is that with the reducer. Now let's go to the next one, root reducer. So to begin with, we need to import the to-do reducer. Okay. So to-do reducer. Okay. We import that, and we also import combine reducers. Combine reducers from Redux here, like that. Then we can finally say let's root reducer. The reducer be equal to combine reducers into bracket what? We'll link the key to the reducer. So we say let me put it in. We say to do key. So given the value to do reducer. Okay. Now let's import the key to do key. Where it has been imported for us to do key. So that is that. Now we can export our root reducer. So we say export root reducer. Export it to where? To the store. Okay. So we go to the store, then we import the root reducer. So we say import root. Oh, I'm making scarce. Root reducer from root reducer. What is that? Now we also import create store and apply middleware. Come on, apply middleware from Redux, not React Redux, from Redux. Okay, let me leave it like that and see if the React Redux also works. Then next, let's import compose with DevTools. Compose with DevTools from Redux DevTools extension. Then lastly, we import tank. So we say import tank. Sorry, life. Tank from where? Redux tank. So that is that, guys. So to begin with, let's say let middleware be equal to tank. Then we can say let store be equal to create store into bracket what, which reducer, comma, compose with dev2 into bracket what, apply middleware, which into bracket give us all the middleware. When they say middle, MIDDLE middleware. So that is that. So in future we can just add more middlewares. Just put comma and add another middleware. So that is that. Let's export our store. So we say export store. Export the store to where? To the app.js. So we go to app.js and import our store. So we say import store. Okay, store from Redux store. Good, that's it. Next, we need to import provider. Provider from React Redux. What to do next is to wrap the provider around the component. So we say provider, so that we can say store equals store. So wrap it around it. Good. Yeah. So that is that. Good. Clear this down. Good. So our store is ready. Now let's go to our screen to see if there is any complaint. There is a little complaint. It says what? Apply middleware is not exported from React Redux. Store.js. So let's go back on that. Apply middleware is not exported from React Redux. Apply store. Good. Apply middleware from React Redux. Yeah, so it's from Redux. So let's take note. Good. So that is that, guys. We're back. No error. If no error, let's go to our Redux to see if there's any issue. And there's with our store too. Yeah, our store initialization is ready. You can see how everything has been initialized. Let's look at our raw. Good. Everything is ready. Now what we need to do now is to link the store to the component so that we can load the data. So let's try that. Let's see how to do that. We don't need all this store app.js. We don't need them. Everything. We don't need them. Let's go back to our component. Redux is done. Let's go to our components. Component. You have to do app. Okay, now we need to import use selector and use dispatch. So we say import use selector. Use dispatch from React Redux. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so next is to initialize our use dispatch. So we say initialize dispatch. Okay, so we say let's dispatch equal to use dispatch. Okay. So now we can call our use dispatch. So how do we call it? Use effect to call it. So we say let's import use effect first. So over here we say comma use bracket use effect use effect. So down here we can now say use effect, use effect, good, to bracket, which gives us a function. Inside that we can have our empty array. Good, now we can say dispatch what? Dispatch load data. Yeah, load data. Good. We need to import our load data. So we say import load data. Load data from where? From where? Where is load data? It's dot action. So we say to do no. Yeah, from Redux. Then to do Redux, then from actions. Yeah. When you go to Redux, you go to do, then go to actions. Yes, yeah, we calling this load data. So that is that to the load data. Good. Great. We got data. We got data, guys. We got data. We got data. Can you see that? So next thing to do is what? Make sure how to connect the data to the component, to bring the data to the component. So let's see how to do that. To do that, we need to use, let's say, I'm just going to say view to dos or view data from store. Okay, so view data from store, we say let view to do equals to use selector. A selector which gives us a function. Good, where we can say state should return what? State with the key. So we call the key is what? To do key. To do underscore key. To do key. Now let's import to do key. So we say import to to do key. To do key from from where? No. Yes. To do key is in Redux. And to do Redux, then reducer. Okay. When you go to reducer, you see the to do key over here. So that is that to do. So our view to do is ready. Now to check that out, we can use a pre tag and call JSON. So we say pre tag. Inside that, let's go JSON dot stringify to bracket view view to do. Let's close the bracket. So that is that. Let's check that out. Good. So we can see our data at the top now. The view to do is ready. You can see user 1 ID title completed, false or true. So that is that. Now how to link the data now into the to-dos over here. So let's see how to do that. So we go to the body. Good. Then we cut the container. Good. We need to cut the container. Why is this thing too fast? Again, I want to cut the container. Good. This way. So before we start, we say we call a function. We call it GSS. Then we say view to do dot data dot map to be equal to what? It gives us a function which inside that we can say which gives us a function. Yeah, this way. Now return what? Good. Now return the container. So let's return a div for the container. So we can give it an ID. So we say div. So we say div. Good. Inside the div we can give it a key. It's what? Let's call this one item. So we can say over here item dot ID. Okay. So inside the key we can now paste our container. Yeah, something like this. Let's check that out. Great. You can see now we have our data ready. So that is that, guys. So next thing to do is to check the welcome to projects, the left content. Let's go and make it dynamic. So we say now when you check the data is what title. So we say item.title. Okay, to make it dynamic. So we say where are you? Good. Good. So instead of welcome to projects, just make it item.title. Let's check that out. Great. So you can see, guys, that is that. Next is the checkbox. Now we need to create a condition in such a way that when it is true, then there should be the checkbox should be checked. If it's not true, then it should be empty. So let's do that. If it's completed false, empty. If it's completed true, checked. So let's see how to do that. So we go where the checkbox is, but again the right content is given, so we can just cut this. Okay, cut this and create a condition. Let me cut it. Good. So I say good. You say item dot completed equals true. Then what do you do? If it's got true, then what do you do? Give us the other. I can paste my div. Do you hear me? Then otherwise paste another div. Then leave that one and create the first one checked because it's true. So if it's true, give us this one, but add another class called checked. Yeah. So that is that. Otherwise, leave it unchecked. So let's check that. Great. So you can see, guys, we got some checked and some unchecked. So that is that with the completed or now completed. So that's that with the right content. So guys, that is that with the right content. So what to do next is to add a loading spinner to it. So to do that, let's go to our component and create another component. Let's create a folder and call it spinner. Inside the folder, let's create a file and call it spinner.app.js. That is our RAFCE. Let's create a boilerplate. Instead of ordinary div, let's make it React.fragment. Then inside that, we can say hello. Oh, sorry, inside that we can say h1 tag. And we say hello. Now let's link that to the app.js. App.js, good. Let's import it. So let's say import spinner. So spinner app from where? Yeah, spinner app. So now we need to load it here. So before that, let's create a condition. Okay, a condition before the body loads. Let's create a condition for the body loads. So let's copy all this. Let me see. Okay, good. That's the body. Let's get a condition. So we cut. Good. So before the body loads, let's create a condition. So we say view to do dot loading equals true, then give us the spinner. So that's spinner app again. We call the spinner. Otherwise, give us the data. So the data, we can just say, let's call React fragment. Then we can just paste everything here. Good. So let's check that out. So an error, spinner app is not exported. It's not exported. Wow, let's check the export. Yeah, just take the bracket off. Good. Let's try again. Great. So that is that. You can see hello. You can see the hello. Good. So that instead of the hello, we need to now add our spinner. So here we need to just take it off and call our spinner. So let's call our spinner. We create a div, and inside that let's create a class name, and call it spinner page. And inside that you can call our img tag src, which equals to what? Spinner image. So spinner image, give an alt name equals spinner image. What is that? The spinner. We need to export the spinner. Import spinner image from where? No assets. Yeah, good. We have it in our assets. Good. Assets. Then spinner. Then where is spinner? Spinner image. Yeah. Dot gif. Okay. You can see the spinner. We have spinner. So why can't you see the spinner? Loading image.gif, or sorry, that's the name, loading image.gif. The name is loading image. Loading image from GIF. Okay, that's the right key. So let's check it out, guys. So if I say, great, did you see the spinner? Yeah. So let's center it and give it and make it to cover all the page. So we go to our CSS and call the spinner. So we say over here, we say, sorry, spinner page. Let's give it the width of 800 pixels. Then a height of 500 pixels. Good. Then lastly, we can give it a margin auto. What next? Now we need to center it here. We have our centered this is not already centered CSS already. Yeah, this one. So we just add it to it. So we go to our spinner. Now I can say center. So that is that. Let's check that out. Yeah, guys, did you see that? Yeah, okay. Now let's take the pre-tag off. Then we are done. When we go to the pre-tag, pre-tag 100. Take the pre-tag off. Good. Yeah. So guys, that is that. Thank you so much for sticking through. Catch you in the next one. Don't forget to do good. Goodbye.